an idea for clean energy that I think it's fair to say hardly anybody else on the planet had ever thought of. It's quite extraordinary, really. Kick a ball, turn on a light. It's an off-grid solution that gives us a way to bring power and improve quality of life, working capacity, learning capacity.
Socket and other social innovations in this ViewChange special.
ViewChange is about people making real progress in tackling the world's toughest issues. Can a story change the world? See for yourself in ViewChange, unleashing innovation.
That was Socket. It's gotten a lot of attention recently, and not just from Bill Clinton. Which isn't surprising. It has all the trappings of a game changer. Socket is clever, it's creative, it's relatively cheap, and most of all, it takes on one of the biggest challenges in the developing world: access to electricity. Socket is unique, but it's one of a growing number of projects with a similar goal: tackling the world's toughest problems from surprising and inventive new angles. Problems like hunger, disease, clean water, security. Problems that are crying out for a fresh approach. Lynn Taliento from McKinsey & Company's Social Sector Office and Tom Freston, chairman of the One Campaign, are two leaders in this field, which goes by the term social innovation. It's a field that sits at the nexus of industry, entrepreneurial thinking, and philanthropy. As they explain, understanding social innovation takes some nuance.
Social innovation is sort of a category that wasn't even around 10 years ago and has been booming ever since. It's really about developing new ideas, new organizations, new strategies to attack social problems.
For me, social innovation is about looking at a social challenge and coming up with different ways to address it. A lot of people think it means coming up with a new technology or a new solution, sort of a point solution. But we see it way broader than that. If you think about it, you can come up with a new solution, but then you can come up also with a new way to deliver that solution. It might be an old solution that you deliver in a new way.
It's clearly an area that is growing. I mean, we see the White House has a social innovation fund. We see in various countries all kinds of government support. There's all kinds of exciting people doing things.
So some of the groups that are social innovators are pretty well known to us. Think about Product Red, products you can buy in the stores like the Red Apple iPod. Or think about Tom's shoes, which many of us wear. Kiva.org, where you can actually make a loan to a micro-entrepreneur in another country and get paid back and then reinvest. Or think about Ushahidi, which is revolutionizing crisis communications.
10 years ago, if you got out of a good school, there's a good chance you were probably headed to Wall Street. 30 years ago, if you got out of a good school, there was a good chance you wanted to be investigative journalists. I think a lot of the bloom is off the rose on the Wall Street money-making culture, not all of it certainly, but a lot of people are attracted to this realm because it combines their innate desire to do something good, along with, a possibility to tie it into something innovative in terms of technology or approach or so forth.
There's a whole spectrum of social innovation, and it really can be found anywhere, and that's really what's so exciting about it. It can be found in labs that are developing new vaccines. It can be found very commonly on the ground in a nonprofit, say a midwifery clinic working with moms to figure out how to deliver their babies more safely. But increasingly it's happening in corporations. Companies are engaging more and more in social issues and figuring out how to use their supply chains, their people, their skills to address a social issue in a location where they're operating.
So where does this spectrum of innovation begin and end? From the smallest villages to the world's top tech labs, these innovators are changing the face of their industries. Here are 4 short films entered in McKinsey's Social Innovation Video Contest, pushing the boundaries of the expected around the world.
As I watch my child sleep, I feel a sense of inner peace. I will do everything to protect him, and I want to always be there to give him unconditional love. But the day my child was born, the only thing I wanted was to help her live.
One of the biggest problems these babies face is staying warm, but traditional incubators cost thousands of dollars. The Embrace infant warmer is a simple solution to this problem. Embrace consists of 3 parts: a sleeping bag, a heater, and a pouch of phase change material. Once heated, the phase change material is placed into a compartment in the sleeping bag. The product stays warm without electricity and allows close mother-to-child interaction. Embrace's mission is to give every infant a chance for a healthy life.
You may already know the story. Uganda, plagued by a 25-year-long war. 2 million people displaced, left homeless, jobless, and desperate. But when we actually went to Uganda, our perspective changed. We met women with names and stories, women who are ready to step forward and get a fresh start. The identity of 31 Bits was born, combining creativity with recycled paper to make incredible jewelry. We realized we had a market and they had a skill. Together, we made a business. We believe true economic sustainability is a result of holistic care, enabling a person financially, spiritually, mentally, and physically. After 4 years in our program, a woman has an education, a career, confidence, and a voice. She is empowered to rise above poverty.
With over 1.6 billion people without access to power, we need scalable solutions. The name Phoenix comes from the mythical bird, and it's about rebirth and renewal. And we're focusing on renewable energy for frontier markets. The Phoenix Ready Set system is a renewable power center that can charge from virtually anything. It can charge from solar, it can charge from a bicycle generator that we've developed, and it can even charge off the grid. We aim to reach massive scale, installing megawatts, gigawatts of power in areas that never had access to energy. An entrepreneur can use the Ready Set system to power a small business. They can charge cell phones and they can power lights at night so that they can keep their stores open longer and generate new meaningful income. We're hoping to actually innovate a new business model where we're thinking about people and prosperity and the planet, and we're hoping to address not just the environmental issues, but also improve the quality of life for billions of people around the world.
Those are only 4 of many stories happening around the world. Meanwhile, government and aid groups have been targeting challenges like access to water and electricity and children's health for almost a century. Lots of progress has been made, but there's plenty of room for more. Problems this deeply entrenched require more than just another look. They need a whole new outlook.
If we're going to solve some of these increasingly complex social issues, we definitely need fresh thinking. We need unusual suspects, if you will. We need people who haven't spent their lives necessarily thinking about social issues, but who have talents and capabilities in areas like gaming or design thinking or financial engineering, to put their talents to work to solve these issues. The essence of social innovation is finding new solutions to old problems.
Consider the case of Mozambique, the site of a severe landmine problem. Left over from a 16-year civil war, the mines are a national menace. Untold thousands remain hidden. Bart Wegens, a Belgian engineer, studied traditional demining methods and found them dangerous, expensive, and slow. And that's when he tried enlisting the help of an indigenous ally. This ViewChange film has the story.
Here in Mozambique, the Crictimus gambianus, or as it's better known, the African giant pouched rat, is no longer feared or reviled.
Mostly in our African culture, rats are considered as a useless animal. So at first when I heard that rats are being used for demining, I didn't believe it.
Here at this rat training camp in Shockway, near the Limpopo River, these furry heroes are going through their final training. When the rats detect some explosive, they indicate by scratching the ground. The trainers then make a clicking noise to let them know they can return for a reward.
What we're trying to do is, here the rats are an African solution to an African problem.
Andrew Sully works for Apopo, the Belgian NGO which runs the rat program. He says the inspiration came from scientific work dating back decades.
Well, rats have actually been used for the detection of explosives for many, many years. I mean, there were experiments using laboratory rats back in the 50s, if not before that.
Putting that research into practice hasn't been easy, and each rat takes 2 years to train. But they have some distinct advantages over their canine counterparts. Unlike sniffer dogs, they're loyal to food rather than one particular trainer, and they can also be more effective on windy days like today. Demining teams have spent more than a decade trying to clear Mozambique of landmines. Millions of them were laid during the 10-year fight for independence and the 2 decades of civil war that followed. Today, the rat team is on its way to the former garrison village of Hut.
From the initial surveys that have been done, I think there have been about 5 or 6 mine accidents in this sort of horseshoe shape, which was the mined area around the barracks.
Alfredo Adama gave up his job as a school teacher to work with the rats, and he's proud of his new career.
Because I know every time we find a mine and we destroy it, I know if continue there, something bad should happen, either to a person or to an animal that it's actual cattle or whatever.
The area the deminers are working in today lies either side of a track leading down to a borehole, the area's main water source.
So they put mines in this area in order to protect those local people inside here.
By the end of today's shift, they've already found 2 live landmines. The final job of the day is to safely detonate the rat's haul. It's slow and painstaking work, but bit by bit, Mozambique is being cleared of landmines. And it's all thanks to the work of man's new best friend.
So far, The organization has cleared more than 2,700 explosives from Mozambique's Gaza province, and it plans to make the area completely mine-free this year. Apopo is one of 3 demining groups in Mozambique today, and they've branched out to Thailand and Tanzania too. This new approach was met with skepticism at first, but the rats have proven themselves worthy allies. The program is supported by the United Nations, many governments, and foundations. And the rats themselves, like any specialist, they are subject to regular testing. So who are the social innovators of today? It turns out they come from some pretty unlikely fields. Professionals in areas like engineering, design, and finance are realizing that they too can make headway on social causes. That's a powerful discovery. Enter design thinking, usually something that pertains to things like art and architecture. But as Dave Kilcullen and his team at Karas Associates knows, it's a way of engaging social problems too. Kilcullen has been an advisor to the Bush and Obama administrations, aid groups, and governments around the world. But he is best known for his work in post-war reconstruction. In his best-selling books, Kilcullen shows how social challenges require the same kind of engineering. And the most important part of design thinking for social problems? Understanding the local environment and the local issues.
I founded Karas with a bunch of like-minded people with the objective of identifying ways to solve complex problems. Things like poverty, urban overstretch, energy shortage, and particularly conflict. Understanding how those problems overlap and figuring out simple, design-based solutions to resolving them. Design thinking is a way of thinking about problems, and it's a way of bringing in the environment where something's going to be used and the people that are going to use it and the system within which it's embedded, and wrapping all of that up into the production of a particular type of thing, an object or a product or a service. I'll give you an example. Things that are happening in the rural areas around cities lead people to move into urban environments, and the urban environment can't handle the people that are now putting pressure on its infrastructure. And you end up with what we call peri-urban areas, so slums and shanty towns and a variety of different unplanned development happening around the outside of pre-existing cities. So you can intervene to make things better by looking at the cluster of urban problems that result from that movement. And what we try to do is to look at it as a whole system and think, where can we intervene in concert with local populations together? People talk about making things population-centric, but often we just pay lip service to that. We treat the population like she's a silent movie heroine tied to a railway track, and the bad guys are driving the train down the track, and she's like, help me, and we say, hang on, we'll rescue you. Our experience is it doesn't really work like that. You actually have to, no kidding, treat the population like they're the principal actor. They are the client, and you have to work with them as an architect would work with a client to design a solution that really meets their needs.
So what happens when smart design is applied to a tough problem? Look no further than the latrines of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The city is saddled with an overtaxed sewage system and thousands of overflowing pit latrines. But some engineers in Colorado have designed a solution that mitigates the need for central sewers while also reducing disease. It's a clean answer to a messy question. This ViewChange film explains.
Only 10% of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania's biggest city, is connected to the central sewage system. 80% of the city's population live in settlements that have sprung up without planning permission. They rely on a huge number of smelly, dirty and unsafe latrines. But a solution is at hand. Meet the Gulper. These motor tricycles and the equipment they carry are transforming the way pit latrines are emptied here. In the past, sewage often ended up contaminating water supplies, particularly during the rainy season.
You won't get surprised if you're finding fecal matter rolling with the storm water. It was common. In those areas, we had a problem of widespread of cholera and other infections related to the disposal of waste.
The gulper is designed to reach customers who live down even the narrowest streets.
We have gloves, masks, helmets and gumboots. Then when we arrive, we assess the toilet for any risks.
Many of the latrines are unsafe because of the old way of emptying them.
We used to completely demolish the toilet to drain it. The owners would get upset because it was completely broken.
Julius used to earn his living this way and saw how dangerous it could be.
There was one time when our colleague died because the toilet collapsed in on him and covered him completely.
It's the gulper's pump that has made life safer and cleaner for Julius. It's not motorised, so it's easy to maintain. It's cheap, and above all, it's effective. He can clean up to 6 latrines a day. All the sewage is removed, and very little spills on the ground.
We have a container which can hold 50 litres. We usually drain into this, and when it is full, we put it on a motorbike. Then we take it to a place specially designated to pour it all away, and that is that.
There's another way the gulper has made life sweeter for Julius. He's paid better. Yet customers pay less for the gulper's services. And it's this affordability that's key to improving health for everyone living in the unplanned settlements. The more sewage that gets dumped centrally, the less risk there is to local people. Cholera is not the only disease in decline.
The gulper is getting rid of intestinal diseases, strongyloids, hookworms, tapeworms. There's a reduction of typhoid, amoebic dysentery. If the coverage increases, we are sure of reducing these infections quite a lot.
Mobile sewers, super rats, and electric soccer balls. It's an almost unbelievable spectrum of ingenuity. But all these projects are very real. They're the result of business savvy, of irreverence toward the expected, and of design meeting need. Projects like these are turning aid work on its head, and turning heads in the business world too. That's the promise of social innovation. It's redefining the power of creativity in social causes, and it's blurring the lines between what's good business and what's just good.
Want to learn more about innovation, design, or anything else you saw here? Head over to viewchange.org/TV, where you can watch, read, and get involved in projects that are making a real difference. Watch the films you just saw, and over 400 more from around the world at viewchange.org/TV. Airwaves, a global channel of uncompromising stories. World news, documentaries, entertainment, and culture. Link TV, connecting you to the world. For more information, visit linktv.org.